Well, welcome back, everyone. If ever there was a year in politics where people were looking for something different, it's got to be this election cycle. How often do you hear they don't want the same old boy network, that you don't want the career politicians, looking for fresh faces, looking for women to be more involved in politics? It seems like every place you turn, you're hearing this, and with good reason. Well, lo and behold, about 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, Claudia Braymer here was a guest. She came in to talk about rugby. It's one of her passions. And we found out at that time that she was going to throw her hat in the ring and run for 3rd Ward Supervisor, Warren County, 3rd Ward in Glens Falls, for Warren County Board of Supervisors. So we invited her back again. For 2 reasons. One, we were very impressed with her, and secondly, we wanted to find out how it was going. So Claudia, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. A lot of time has gone between the time we spoke about rugby and now in the heat of the election. So you decided to run.
Yes.
Okay, why did you decide to run?
I have always been involved in my community, and I've been interested in serving my community in a way that has to do with local legislation. And I also think that this process is really exciting, and that being on the Board of Supervisors will be interesting and suit my skill set to be an advocate for my community in this way.
Sure. Let's address those two things there. Politics today could certainly go with a dose of passion. You know, you see things that are so rote now, you know, people just voting just to get it done with, you know. The other thing is that you're particularly well suited for this position as you're a lawyer.
Right.
And what field practice?
I practice in environmental law, land use and zoning, and real estate matters.
Well, of course, that's very important to anyone in Washington County, growing county.
That's
right. A lot of issues. We see it here in the things that we report every single week. There are land issues, whether they're the airport and, you know, environmental issues, cogeneration plant, all of those kinds of things. You've been, the 3rd Ward, if I understand this correctly, is the largest ward in Glens Falls and also the largest population.
Right. Yes, it has the highest weighted vote on the County Board of Supervisors from Glens Falls.
I got it. And there'll be 5 supervisors representing Glens Falls.
Right.
Are you endorsed by any of the political parties?
I am endorsed by the Democratic Party, and also the Women's Equality Party endorsed me, nominated.
You hear a lot about, and I don't want to dwell on this necessarily, but you hear a lot that this is the year of the woman, right? You see a lot of very skilled, very talented women running for political office. Did that have anything to do with it?
It did.
Okay.
Yes,
and why?
I was actually inspired by Elise Stefanik, that she's someone that I looked up to as running, but also Hillary Clinton running, and I thought maybe I would run in 2016 to be on the same ballot as her.
Nice.
But it was time to jump in, so I'm running in 2015, and I do hope it will be the year of the women, because on the county board in particular, there are 20 supervisors, and only 4 of those are women. So the women's voice is underrepresented at that table, and I hope to change that. You
do. Let's follow that for a second there. Say you are elected. What would you do differently?
Well, one thing I would do is make sure that I'm prepared for meetings. I know that sounds simple, but as an attorney, I can scan through documents, get through them, digest them pretty quickly. So I do plan to be well prepared for those meetings and ensure that I'm also reaching out to the citizens to make sure that I understand what their concerns are and what their thoughts are on a particular issue, especially a major issue, before I take a vote on it. I think that reaching out to the voters is something that will be a bit of a challenge, but I am committed to doing that.
You know, you hear a lot said recently about the accountability of the supervisors, the criticism being that some of the supervisors are only accountable to themselves, that they're not representing their constituents the way they should. Or it's part of the boys club, no gender specific meaning by that, but you know, just that collaboration to sort of make it expedient without necessarily delving into the concerns of the people that they represent.
Yeah,
right?
I agree that is a problem. Yeah, and some of the supervisors have been on the board for a long time. And I think it's really important that our elections are challenged, that we have people running against each other, because that helps the incumbents, I think, be more in tune to their constituents in order to stay reelected.
Now, you've been out in the neighborhood knocking on doors.
Yes.
What are people saying to you?
A lot of people's concerns have to do with city issues, their sidewalks, the city trees, but people recently have been very concerned about the cogeneration plant report and what our supervisors were going to do about that.
Now, as we have been reporting all week, the supervisors have decided to shelve part of the decision they need to make for another meeting, right? And there's been some talk that both sides were lawyering up, right, and all of these kinds of things. Claudia had mentioned before she went on air that as a litigator, especially in environmental real estate issues, that you're faced with being a collaborator a lot of times, right?
Right.
Let's face it, nothing's more important to somebody than their real estate, right?
That's right. And I think I have a good personality for collaborating with people and coming to a reasonable solution that will make most people happy.
One more question for you. Recognizing that there are priorities for the county, which of course need to be addressed, do you have any of your own personal priorities that you'd like to focus on or make the other supervisors more aware or more involved?
One of my top priorities is social services, ensuring that we're protecting our children and serving our families as best we can at the county level. Another of my issues comes from an environmental tilt, but zoning and planning, making sure that we're doing a good job at the county level, planning our development and keeping our open spaces available. We have, and that leads into one of my third priorities, which is tourism. We have Lake George and other awesome, spectacular views and hiking opportunities in the county that I want to make sure that we are utilizing as much as we can from an environmental perspective, but also from a tourism perspective, and how we can bring in dollars into the county.
Well, I think you'll find many people align themselves with that, and from what we know about the supervisors, those issues are a priority to them, notwithstanding. So, all right, the best of luck to you.
Thank you.
You'll be out. I'm sure you're going to need a new pair of shoes by the time election comes. But see you in the neighborhood.
All right, thanks.
All right, Claudia, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thanks.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com. Can you fix that? Okay. They made a mistake at the end there. Good, nice. Handled that well.
Okay.
You have a nice
you did a
honesty
great
about
job.
you. Thanks, yeah. All right,
Pulling some of those things that